Hey guys, Cold Brew, welcome to another Race Challenges video. Guys, we've got access now to Ruel The Huntmaster right before the actual fusion starts. I'm on the test server. As you guys know, I've built Ruel The Huntmaster just for you guys with some of my best gear. We're gonna go through testing this champion out and see if he deserves like the spot amongst the top spirit nuker champions within the game. He brings so much to the game in terms of being a nuking champion, but also enabling one of the champions that we had since, I don't know, had her since 2 months ago. It's Thea, the Tomb Lord, Tomb Angel, whatever she's called. So she needed a hex enabling champion for her nukes to actually be to go in. And this guy, I think he deserves a spot. And the thing is, I haven't built him with too much accuracy. We're going to go through the build in a second. So let's go over the skills very quickly. Bow Arrows is his A1, attacks one enemy. 60% decrease debuff, defense debuff for 2 turns. Transfers a random debuff from this champion to a target. If the target is under hex debuff, this is pretty cool. If the hex is still on, unleash the hunt attacks all enemies. This is a big AoE, okay? Place an extra hit on enemies under hex debuff. Very, very important. You need to have the hex on, and the only way to do that is with his A3, so we'll look at that in a second. We'll ignore 25% of the target's defense if there are 4 or more enemies under hex debuffs. So very important for his nuking damage to come in with Helm Smasher, a Savage set, and maybe a defense down. There's absolutely no way any defense will be on the enemies, and you will guarantee some big numbers on your nukes. I would say pretty good skill. The extra hit there will guarantee pretty much anybody dying, even Erotos, but he's going to be weak affinity against Erotos, for example, so you might have an issue there. We'll see on the numbers when we actually test him out. So, Stalk Prey, this is what makes Ruel the talk of the month, okay, for the month of May as fusions go. So, Stalk Prey, place a 50% increase accuracy buff on allies for 2 turns, so he places that before he does anything, then places a hex debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. So this is a place. There's no chance for a weak hit. That's what we want to see. The 50% increase accuracy will go on to Ruel himself as well. So let's say if he needed 300 accuracy to apply his debuffs, then he just needs 200. So 50% of 200 is 100. 200 plus 100, that's 300. So he will apply his debuffs. Also place a perfect veil buff on this champion for 2 turns and fills this champion's turn meter by 50%. 50% boost to his own turn meter. This is pretty cool, which means he'll have a more easy access to his A2 since he'll be basically boosting himself right to the 50% mark of his turn meter. Pretty good, right? And Mark Quarry is his final passive. Decrease the speed of enemies under hex debuffs by 5%. So if you got 100, they're now 95. They got 200, they are 190, and so on. And decrease the resistance of those enemies by 10%. So the 10% on resistance, I'm not really sure about that. I'm not sure if it's like 10% of 200, so 20, or in terms of how much resistance you have, it gives you, let's say, 97% resist chance. Then if you got this, then that goes to 87%. So I'm not sure if it's that. I think it's just the flat number. So 20 out of 200. So also increase the damage enemies under hex debuffs receive by 10%. Pretty big here. And decrease the value of heals they receive by 30%. These effects do not stack if there are multiple rules on the same team. Yeah, they needed to add that. So in terms of artifacts, I went for a Savage and a critical damage set, giving me a ton of damage. Look at that. Almost 5,000 attack, 193 speed, 100% crit, 282 critical damage. This critical damage is pretty high, right? So you could have gone maybe accuracy instead of critical damage, just so you can have even more accuracy on your champion. So 304 accuracy on this build. Given that I do have a nice great haul and masteries, I get another plus 10. 204 from my artifacts, which are ranging in terms of accuracy. But the thing is, I got to 300 accuracy, which with the buff, I'll be at 450, okay? Which is enough to debuff most of the enemies in arena. If you want to have that a little bit higher, then you can go ahead with this one as well. Look at this, just one banner, a plus 10 amulet, and then some accuracy on the gear here and there gave me that 300 number, which is pretty easy. Imagine if this was an accuracy set with maybe an accuracy substat roll in there. I could easily go to 400, maybe 400, Yeah, 400 accuracy would be totally doable with an accuracy set or a perception set if you want the speed as well. So 400 accuracy plus the buff would be 600. 600 accuracy onto enemies pretty much guarantees on most of the fights unless you're facing some pretty tough opponents. So in terms of masteries, I went for Helm Smasher. I want that 50% chance for that extra ignore defense because Ruel does not only have his A2, he also has his A1 in terms of damaging. So this will also benefit in there as well in terms of ignoring the enemy's defense. Support route, I went for Master Hexer. It doesn't specify that it doesn't extend the duration of Hex, but since it doesn't do that, I assume that it does extend it. I didn't go for Spirit Haste, so went the offense route as usual for some big numbers in terms of nuking, and then the support tree. So what I want to do is test out his damage. I want to see how much damage he does on his own, and then I want to see what he does with Thea, the Tomb Angel, in terms of enabling her and how those two go together and how well do they go together, because that's the assumption going into testing out this champion. And when we saw the champions kit, where all the content creators were like, okay, this guy will be enabling Thea. This is what we were looking for. So guys, first things first, we're gonna go into well, it's gonna be Dragon 25. These enemies will have a lot of defense, so we'll be testing out his A2 and C if it really deserves all the hype. Okay, we want to see some big numbers, right? So we'll do the boost. This is my team, which basically tests the damage of a champion. Let's do a defense down weaken. Let's apply poisons on ourselves there. I mean, Ruel should go anytime now, so he will apply the buff on everybody. There's the hex on almost everybody, right? So we didn't land it here. Did we get at least 4? Yeah, we did get 4 hexes. That's what we want to see. 4 hexes will guarantee the ignore defense, right? Now I want to see some big numbers now. So I'll just do a 1. And now this is where we're going to be testing out his nukes and if he deserves to be like a spirit nuker in the category, and if the gear that I put on him is deserved. Like I would take it out of somebody else. Okay, 150. Yeah, double hitting 200k on stage 25. Remember that stage 25 has much higher defense than the other stages. So like if we go to stage 20, I will probably get some bigger numbers, right? If I would test out stage 20, I would get way bigger numbers. The same team. I mean, I could have gone even more critical damage because of the lead there for Bad Alcazar. There's a defense down. There's this. Let's apply a hex on everybody. There's 5 hexes over there. Remember, the hex does give more damage by everybody on those targets, and Ruel also. So these are the stage 20 targets. Let's put it on 1x. 176,000. Yeah, lots of weak hits there. Definitely not worthy of using him in dungeons where he's going to be weak affinity. But I just wanted to see the comparison. About the same damage. I mean, if this was strong affinity, I would have gotten maybe a bit more. Did we back out the test server? Probably we did. So I think I should. Is it okay? Okay. Okay. So this was the damage, but how does he fit within a team? So let's test him out in like a proper team here. So this would be a more reasonable team to test him on. I mean, I do have my 2 cold hearts trying to get a fast time on that Dragon 20. I want to see if he does really help the whole team get those big numbers in. There's the A2s. So he should be doing the hex first, okay? Yeah, so maybe I need him with a little bit more speed. Maybe that it's better. So let's see, his A2 should be able to clear the waves. Come on. Okay, good numbers there, like 120k. But remember the gear that I have on him. So 280 critical damage, 5k. 280 critical damage, 5k attack. So maybe if I forego the accuracy, maybe we can get some bigger numbers, but I'm happy that he gives the boost to the whole team. Although for it to be really effective on most of my champions, even Lydia, I mean, he would have to be faster than Lydia, and that's pretty much, I'll have to sacrifice so much of those stats. But look at all those numbers. I mean, if I did use like a Renegade here, I would get lots of resets. Would be so happy about getting those. The enemies aren't getting many turns, right? Look at that, 66k. And I want to see, I wonder if he is going to survive the big hits from the dragon. So we've got the defense down. We can now on the boss. Let's see. Come on, Ruel. So with just the defense down weekend and the increased attack, he does some big numbers, okay? On stage 25, so happy about that. There's the A2, 88k plus 100k, so almost 200k together. Nothing too exciting in terms of damage, I would say, with that gear. But the next test will be with Thea, the Tomb Angel. I want to see how those two go well together and how we can abuse their combos together to get some fast clearing. Maybe that's the combo to actually clear, let's say, Fire Knight 20. So have to see that. 25. Fire Knight 25. Yeah, not 20. 20 we clear it. 25, that's where everybody's looking to do like a pretty good and fast time. So come on, clear it. Boom, boom. 113, 100k. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. So over 100 is the magic number there. So yeah, so here's my Thea, guys. She's on cruel sets. Not too much speed, but good amount of attack, critical rate, critical damage. You know the basics. What she needs is a hex for her A2 to be doing that big damage to the enemies. So tax all enemies, damage increased by 50% for each hex debuff on the enemy team. Stacks up to 300%. Removes all hex debuffs from all enemies after attacking. So that's the bad thing about removing the hex. But I wonder if the removal tests for accuracy. So if I don't build any accuracy on her, is that gonna be subject to, you know, her accuracy? Never thought of that. So we're gonna test it out, of course. And where can we test it out? You know, the maximum amount, it should be dungeons 25 spider. So here we're gonna have a strong affinity, Ruel a strong affinity Thea. So I do expect a big burst of damage by the two. So where's my Thea? Not by Ruel, by just Thea. So we're gonna put Thea in there. Let's put a Bad El Khazar also. And I wonder how this is gonna go. I wonder what kind of numbers we're gonna get with Thea. So remember, we do need the hex. So there's the poisons. That's 20% damage by our team. There's the defense down. We can on, I think should be everybody. So now we do boost the accuracy. So yeah, my thoughts about removing hex are out the window because pretty much we will guarantee the removal. So there's the hex on more than 6 targets. So we guarantee to get the 300% boost to Thea's damage. I just want to see some big numbers, right? With Thea, she should be going next. So normally she does the perfect veil thing on herself on auto. I'm just gonna go with the A2 here. The bad thing about this is basically she loses 1 turn of all the buffs, and she gains a perfect veil, but that doesn't really help me. So 50% chance of placing a true fear debuff on all enemies for 1 turn when an enemy loses 30% or more of their max HP in a single hit. That's what we're looking for in terms of controlling these spiralings here. Let's see. Wow, look at that. Wow, look at that. 500,000 crits. I did not expect that. I honestly did not expect it. That was huge, right? That was huge. In terms of killing these ads. I don't know what that +1 on top is. First time I'm seeing that. That 1 on top of the spiraling. So there's one of the hexes that Thea did apply. So these two are now under perfect veil. Yeah, and they pretty much died. So it's kind of hard to use this combo to take down take down Spy 25, but it's definitely nice to test out the damage. So what we're gonna do next is gonna take that combo into Fire Knight 25, and that should be a solid test in terms of damage. So let's see. I wanted to use these two, right? I want to have her for turn meter control, and then I want to have Renegade as well for resets, right? So this is my next test. So here, I mean, I would use Rule in the lead, 20% crit rate. I could just lose 20% crit rate on her. And a lore, I think this team could work. I think this team could work pretty well. So let's see how that goes. The only problem would be, I think, Rule. There's Hex Reaper, not that much. Wow, the difference, 60k? What? I'm so disappointed about that. I honestly expected way more damage. Way more damage. So there's a Hex again. That's because of the reset. So we should see Thea's nuke again. Yeah, not so much. 80k. How do we even get a weak hit there? No, let's just leave this to go and see how this turns out. Not really excited about this. So maybe these two can go together in arena, I guess. But in terms of being a combo for clearing the waves, yeah, I think this is not enough. Yeah, it's taking way longer. I mean, I can do this with Seer in seconds. I can pass through the two waves with the same kind of combo in seconds. In 25 seconds, I'm at the boss. So, bit disappointing. I mean, you do need to land strong hits, but yeah, I mean, Fire Knight 25, yeah, this is not going to cut it. The weak affinity of Thea just doesn't help making this a fast run. I mean, Dragon's Lair, we would be neutral affinity here, strong affinity with Rule. I already have a strong time in there. Ice Golem's Peak, maybe I could use her there for maybe a faster time, but I already have a pretty fast clear with just Bad Alcazar. So let's see how this goes in there. Let's see the burst by Thea. 250k, not enough, unfortunately. Even with all that, it's not enough to actually take down the waves. I mean, it's a good number. If I did use a Savage Set, I think we could clear it with a Savage Set on Thea, maybe some more critical damage. If I switched around the sets from Rule to Thea, maybe we could have enough damage to actually do this. But now the problem is, is Rule gonna die? Oof. Okay. Let's see. It's a nice nuke from that A1. I want to see Thea's A2 nuke again. Now with the defense up and everything on Seeker. That'll be a solid test. But again, it's the same thing with Seer. I could just breeze through these two waves and yeah, there's a nuke. Without the hexes, the nuke is very weak on the A2. We knew that already. So she definitely needs the setup first for this to actually work. So final thing, I might try them in the arena, both of them together. So here, I mean, I do have the defense down on everybody. If I do this, then the enemy team will go and I'll pretty much lose the fight, right? If I do this and apply the hex. But the hex is what I need to actually enable me. So I want to do the A2. Everybody's void, so we shouldn't have any issues. Let's do the A2. No hex. Got a big nuke there. I mean, that's good, right? But what if you built him faster so that he gets he gets like a double turn just because of his boost. So there's the hex on everybody now. The resistance is down. But is that going to be enough? See, we get frozen here. Yeah. I think a build is possible with Ruel being in there as your sole nuker, but that would mean him being pretty fast. So not 180. I mean, that would probably mean that he would be fast enough in order to apply the hex. Then with the boost plus maybe another booster like Lysandra, then he would go and do the nukes, so take like a double turn before the enemies manage to take their own turn. But that will mean pretty fast Ruel, and that's, I think, close to impossible. In terms of the meta, he doesn't change anything, but I think he's a solid champion in terms of giving all those debuffs to the enemies and providing everything he has to the team. The increased accuracy buff is something that many will find helpful, especially for progression. So guys, this was the video. What do you think about Ruel the Huntmaster? Do you like this champion? Would you use him instead of your other nukers? Leave it down in the comments below. I want to see your thoughts on this champion and how you think from other content creators. I haven't watched the other guys' videos so far. I do think he's a cool champion. He definitely does have a fun interaction with Thea in the spider, but as you saw in dungeons, is not that exciting. I mean, we went in there with Thea being strong affinity in the Ice Golem. Maybe with Savage Heads, she would be able to clear the waves. She would pretty much do the same thing that Seer does. And Seer is not a champion that you get after 3 months of doing the hard Doom Tower. So again, I think maybe Thea needs some kind of tuning to make sense with the Hex. Maybe not remove the Hex after she uses her A2. That would be a nice combo together with Ruel, because basically you lose everything that Ruel provides through his passive, with Thea being in the team, unfortunately. And he provides a lot of stuff when he applies the Hex on the enemies. You pretty much want the Hex to stay on and not be removed. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Leave it down in the comments. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. And guys, I'll see you in the next one. See ya.